Irregular present verb conjugation in Italian doesn't follow one fixed pattern. Instead, many irregular Italian verbs have their own special conjugation, which means that such verbs must be memorized, because other patterns for them might not be predictable. In my previous video, I explained regular Italian verb conjugation in the present, showing verb stems and their endings. In this video, I'll explain irregular present verb conjugation, which may follow the same endings, but with different changes in verb stems. Although many verbs in Italian are irregular, some have stem patterns. Of course, knowing all irregular verbs is impossible, so in this video, I will simply show the most common verbs and their patterns, along with some examples in the end. Let's begin with avere, to have. This verb has irregular conjugations that must be remembered, but many of its endings follow the category of ere verbs. Io ho, tu hai, lui, lei ha, noi abbiamo, voi avete, loro hanno. What makes avere special is that it has more uses than English, which apply to possession, feelings, and conditions that are idiomatic. If in English we use to be to express ideas like hunger and age, in Italian we rely on avere, along with other simple phrases. Ho fame. Ho 22 anni. Ho un cane. At the same time, avere can be used as an auxiliary verb for past tenses, but this concept needs to be shown separately. After avere, we can see the verbs fare, andare, dare. What these verbs have in common is that they originate from Latin irregularity, where they share double enne in the loro pronoun. In a verb like fare, to do or to make, the root itself changes, but the endings are regular. Io faccio, tu fai, lui, lei fa, noi facciamo, voi fate, loro fanno. In the verb andare, to go, the pattern will have the root va, except for noi and voi. Io vado, tu vai, lui, lei va, noi andiamo, voi andate, loro vanno. The verb dare, to give, has a similar pattern. Io do, tu dai, lui, lei dà, noi diamo, voi date, loro danno. After learning about these verbs, we can see verbs like venire and tenere, and they are irregular because they add a consonant G or V in some forms, specifically in io, tu, lui, lei, loro. Also, they add G or sometimes ni to io and loro, and modify the stem to ien in tu, lui, lei. That's a lot of information, but that's how the verbs get conjugated in the present, such as venire, to come. Io vengo, tu vieni, lui, lei viene, noi veniamo, voi venite, loro vengono. The verb tenere also has the same pattern. Io tengo, tu tieni, lui, lei tiene, noi teniamo, voi tenete, loro tengono. Interestingly, Italian has other verbs that follow the same patterns. It's not necessary to show their conjugations, but you will also find them in Italian. Mantenere, ottenere, contenere, appartenere. Other irregular verbs in Italian are uscire and dire. These verbs are irregular because they have highly unconventional stems. Uscire uses e, esse, ci as a stem for io, tu, lui, lei, loro, while remaining regular for noi, voi. Io esco, tu esci, lui, lei esce, Noi usciamo. Voi uscite. Loro escono. On the other hand, the verb dire will have a stem of di, I, ci, also in io, tu, lui, lei, noi, loro, while remaining regular for voi. Io dico. Tu dici. Lui, lei dice. Noi diciamo. Voi dite. Loro dicono. At last, Italian modal verbs are also irregular because their stems change, adding consonants and vowels, while their endings remain regular. We can see the verb potere, can or be able to. Io posso. Tu puoi. Lui, lei può. Noi possiamo. Voi potete. Loro possono. Potere is highly irregular because of the addition of esse, along with vowel changes, but it's not the only pattern you'll see. In a verb like volere, to want, li is added. Io voglio. Tu vuoi. Lui, lei vuole. Noi vogliamo. Voi volete. Loro vogliono. Still, in a verb like dovere, must, or have to, most patterns change. Io devo. Tu devi. Lui, lei deve. Noi dobbiamo. Voi dovete. Loro devono. Considering this pattern, we can also see it with the verb bere, to drink, even though it's not modal. Io bevo. Tu bevi. Lui, lei beve. Noi beviamo. Voi bevete. Loro bevono. The pattern here is to memorize the stem bev and not ber in the present. In conclusion, these are the general patterns for irregular present verb conjugation in Italian. After learning the most common verbs, you will be able to handle 90% of everyday Italian speech. As I said in the beginning, knowing all irregular verbs is not necessary because you will not use them all, so instead, focus on the commonly used ones. Nonetheless, two important verbs remain in the language that I did not show, which are irregular, and they both mean to be. Essere, stare. The reason I didn't show these verbs is that they require specific explanations in their own topic, which I will do in the next video. To finish this video, we can see some useful sentences using different irregular verbs, especially with no subject pronouns. Vado al lavoro alle 8. Vieni con me? Posso aiutarti? Voglio imparare l'italiano. Escono spesso la sera. Overall, this is how irregular verbs fully work in the present in Italian.